This is Remix Report with your hosts, DJ JD and DJ J Spring.
Today's video brought to you by YourDJSkins.com. Pimp your gear today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Remix Report. I'm DJ JD.
I'm DJ J Spring, and today is your weekend recap where we discuss how this past week went and also some other stuff, some news, and I guess we're going to talk about some stuff that you guys wanted us to talk about this week as well. I think we'll start doing that a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely good to get your guys' feedback on things that you want to hear, so definitely talk about that.
So we're going to start out where we were this weekend, and you were at Shrine on Friday.
I was at Shrine on Friday for Fuck It, It's Friday. It was definitely a great night. It had actually been a couple weeks since I'd played by myself on a Friday, so it was definitely fun to get back in the swing of things. And had two kids actually job shadowing me, two high school kids job shadowing me. They're local DJs. Actually, one is the younger brother of one of the guys from Brass Knuckles.
That song, Bad Habits, is really starting to grow on me, by the way. That's a really dope song.
Definitely. And another kid, that was Ben. Then this kid, DJ Moscow from the Boston area, came down, and definitely keep on the lookout for him. Definitely a good upcoming DJ. So yeah, we hung out. They got to see the way the nightclub works, and definitely excited to see that.
They didn't really see how it worked because they weren't allowed to have alcohol in the booth that night.
That's true. No alcohol allowed, but
it was kind of how it works.
Yeah.
It works a lot differently when there's alcohol in the booth.
Quite a bit, sometimes. Let's see. Saturday night, I was up at Pearl in Providence. I hadn't been there in since we played there probably about a year ago.
It was about a year ago, yeah.
So it was definitely a good night. One of the better nights they've had in a while. So it was good to be a part of that. Then I didn't DJ Sunday night, but I did get to see some DJs up in Boston on Sunday night. We had a private party at Empire, one of our venues in Boston. And TJ Powers was DJing up there, rocked it for that party, and then we stopped by Cure for the after party and got to see Dolo and Hectic up there, so shout out to them.
An after party, were they open late?
No, well, it was just their regular club night,
Okay.
But it was our after party because we were partying at Empire first. So.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they rocked it. Definitely a good mix of hip-hop and house, and definitely fun to hang out and just get to enjoy listening to other DJs spin, so good time.
Nice. I was at Scorpion Bar on Friday, and I actually started off a little bit different than I usually do. Usually I kind of play rock early. This time I started off with some kind of newer, kind of R&B-ish up-tempo records, like the Dave All Day, Don't Judge Me remix, Y-Boys remix of Numb by Usher, that kind of stuff, and it actually went over really well. I think the workers kind of enjoyed hearing some newer stuff, which I usually, when I do club nights in general, not at Scorpion Bar because the format is usually pretty different, but just in general, I usually play a lot of that newer, kind of more mellow stuff early, and then I kind of go into maybe some more energetic, newer stuff as the night goes on. When I say the night goes on, I mean kind of right before you start your prime time set. And I don't know, that's usually how I play. That's when I fit in a lot of the newer stuff usually.
So did you fit in more rock later on?
Yeah, I played more rock later on. I ended it with a pretty long rock set that night too. Went over pretty good. I mean, all the sing-along stuff, no matter where you are, usually goes over pretty good. Saturday I was at the Russian Lady in Hartford, and that was probably one of the top 5 nights I've ever DJ'd in my life. The crowd was just awesome. They just wanted to rage. It was packed, and that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And they're about to open one in New Haven, too, so they're starting a little empire there with the Russian Ladies.
Is that where NYX used to be? Or Hula Hanks?
It's where Wicked Wolf in New Haven used to be. But they actually bought NYX, which used to be Hula Hanks in New Haven as well. They're going to open another club on that side as well. And then last night I was at Shrine for, I guess everyone had Veterans Day off. Well, a lot of people had Veterans Day off today, I think. So they made it a club night last night. It wasn't really that busy, not compared to some of the other holidays like Memorial Day and Labor Day. But it was still a fun night. I got to since it wasn't as busy, I kind of experimented a little bit with some extra reggae and hip hop. That went over actually all right. So that was my weekend. But speaking of Veterans Day,
Yeah.
I wanted to post a link to something I found on Barstool Sports yesterday. Someone emailed Barstool, which, for those of you who don't know, is a site that I frequent a lot. It's kind of about sports, funny news stories, hot girls. That's pretty much the essence of Barstool Sports. And actually, our friend Dante the Don is actually their official DJ. He does the Barstool Blackout parties, which is really the hottest college parties, hands down, in the country. Talk about rage. That's like the definition of
Those parties
things.
look insane.
You seen the videos for those?
Yeah, they're just wild.
Absolutely insane. So Dante is a very lucky dude to DJ all those. Can you imagine DJing that all the time?
That'll be a lot of fun.
Like I told you, this past weekend was one of my top 5 nights because everyone's just going crazy. That's like 3 times a week for Dante, maybe more.
It's wild.
So anyway, about Barstool, they just posted a link. A reader emailed them and said one of his buddies who was in the service just had he actually lost 3 limbs. He stepped on a landmine. What is the official name for it?
An IED, improvised explosive device.
So he lost 3 limbs. It's been a struggle ever since, obviously. Can't imagine going through that. That's why we thank everyone who does serve to protect our freedom. And this kid needs a new wheelchair. There's a really dope wheelchair. You saw the picture of this,
Yeah,
right?
it looks sick.
And there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to get this. I know a lot of people donated on Barstool, but we also want to post the link as well so you guys can donate. Definitely more than a good cause.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't want to donate to that, find some military-related charity to donate to for Veterans Day.
This kid definitely deserves this wheelchair, though. So
Yeah, for sure. So, let's see, in DJ-related news, Pioneer released white RMX 1000 this week. They're kind of going on that white kick. Seems kind of Apple-like when Apple was doing everything in white.
I always dreamed of having
back,
like a white DJ setup to go with my white Mac that I never bought, but I was gonna get the white Mac if I could get the other DJ stuff, but they discontinued that, right?
They did. Maybe Pioneer will get up with the times and make aluminum colored Pioneer products to go with our MacBook Pros. But yeah, so that white Pioneer RMX 1000. I got to mess with the RMX 1000 down at the DJ Expo. Definitely a cool piece of gear. If I had an extra $900 to spend, I might get one. But Sprite's new mix CD is out. I know everybody loves Sprite's mixes, so I figured I'd throw that in the news here.
Everybody loves Sprite in general.
Yeah. S.T.A.Y. Volume 7, 6 times a year.
We'll have to get
Volume
Sprite
7.
back on here again soon.
I'm just sick. So, other news, WordPress has a new WordPress music.
I want to look into that. I didn't really get to check that out yet.
So this is to help you add music-related things to your website if you have a WordPress site. Which, WordPress is super easy to use as far as getting a good-looking website up and running quickly. So
it's not another site, then it helps you get music onto your already existing WordPress site?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And let me bring up a few things that showed. Let's see. So you have now you can have a music player. You can show tour dates, which those tour dates can be pulled in from your Songkick page or your Google Calendar. You can automatically have your blog post published to your social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Easily add Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify things to your page. Embed videos, have a mailing list to try and get fans to join a mailing list. So definitely a few cool features that are not normally in regular WordPress. So I think some of those you have to pay extra for. But
I wonder what the deal is with their music player. If it just if you can upload stuff to it, because that would be everybody's dream, to be able to just upload stuff to a player without having to worry about copyright. Or if it just puts stuff from your SoundCloud onto the player or something like that.
Well, it looks like it has kind of both. The first music player that it mentions does look like just something you can put anything up there. It looks like a Flash player, maybe a HTML5 player, hopefully. And then you also have the ability to add SoundCloud stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, something to look into if you're looking to upgrade your site or looking to make a site in general. So check that out. WordPress.com/music.
Awesome. Now I guess we're going to get into some discussion, talk about some articles that we found. A really good one it's entitled Bedroom DJ Woes, Why You're Not Getting Booked, and What to Do About It.
This is on DJ Tech Tools.
And they had a lot of good advice on here, some stuff that I didn't really think about. For instance, it's a good idea if you're off to maybe hang out at some other clubs and just kind of support the other clubs in general, and the owner especially the promoter might get familiar with you that way. And it talked about not going too crazy trying to pester people to get nights, but just kind of how to go about it in a casual way, which is important.
Yeah, it's really about, you want to be seen out there in the scene if you're not working, and you want to build relationships. It's all about networking and getting to know people and going out there on your nights off, especially if you have a Friday or Saturday night off. Definitely is going to be worth your while to go out there and schmooze a little bit, and definitely meet the promoters, shake hands with people, and that's going to get you gigs a lot quicker than sending people messages on Facebook and Twitter and things like that. So.
And along those lines, it also talked about supporting your fellow DJs and fellow producers as well, especially locally. There's a couple of things that I kind of have mixed views on, and this kind of stuff. Well, one of them is something we talked about before, and that's making a CD. And it says how if you make something in Ableton, it doesn't really show your live skills, and because you can just edit and edit and edit. But where I disagree with that a little bit is, I know we have different opinions on this, is that I can't imagine anyone making an awesome mix on Ableton and then DJing live and just train wrecking like crazy. I think if you are able to make something that sounds really good in Ableton, it shows that you care about what your stuff should sound like, and that you know what it should sound like. I just have trouble seeing someone making an awesome mix and then just going in the club and just like bombing.
I see that point, definitely. Yeah, the chances of someone doing a really, really dope Ableton production and then showing up and really sucking as a DJ are pretty slim.
I mean, I see both sides to this argument,
and if you give someone a live demo and it's good, then it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to be good live. Whereas if you give someone an Ableton demo, and yeah, there's the probability of you being good is better if it's a good demo, and there's that chance that maybe you're a production wizard and you've never touched turntables before, and this is the first time you've ever actually touched turntables. Was this first night at the club when they hired you?
What's the chances of that? Just like less than 1% chance.
You really think so? Look at all these house DJs that are producers first and then have to learn how to DJ.
Well, there's the auto sync button and stuff nowadays. I'm sure they use that.
Not quite the same.
One of the other things that I don't necessarily agree with, and it's something that I hear a lot, is that it's talking about DJs who play the Beatport Top 100, and they, in terms of when you play your house, like trying to set yourself apart, saying that you really should look at more than the Beatport Top 100, and I do agree with that, but I don't think it's necessarily has to be a strong point to do so, because if you do look at the Beatport Top 100 now, the top 15 is mostly big names, but there's still some songs in there that people probably don't get to hear a lot. And outside, like the last like 50, or I shouldn't say that because there's quite a mix of like bingo players and stuff in there, but throughout the top 100, just lots of songs that don't get regular play in the club, lots of songs that aren't on DJ City, DMS, or Bar Bangers. There's lots of songs that you don't hear in mashups and stuff. So in other words, there's lots of obscure songs in that top 100. So I know a lot of people don't even go to Beatport that regularly to check the top 100. They might check the top 10. But I think if you are checking the top 100 exclusively just to find songs that for you that maybe other DJs aren't playing, I think within the top 100 you can find a lot of songs that a lot of DJs aren't playing. I mean, it is a good idea to go outside and check new releases and stuff, but I think any DJ who checks the top 100 could find a lot of songs in there that you won't hear anywhere else from other DJs.
I agree, coming at this from an open format perspective. I definitely agree. If
Yeah.
you're coming at it from a house perspective and you're strictly playing house and only playing house venues, then I agree, you definitely need to dig deeper. But coming from an open format perspective,
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So maybe they were talking about house perspective.
Perspective.
Perspective. Maybe they're talking about. But I don't know. I think this article is more open format. It mentioned in the article, it said that was only 5% of people who play not top 40 music, non-top 40 music, have a chance at making it as a DJ. Something along the lines of that. So it just says keep that in mind when you choose what you want to be as a DJ. If you're playing, for instance, I'd say drum and bass. I mean, it must be kind of hard to break into that market, especially depending on where you're from.
I mean, kind of the difficulty of breaking into a market correlates to how much you get paid to do those gigs.
That's true, too.
I mean, breaking into the mobile DJ market, I mean, that's a big range. I don't think we really need to address that. But open format wise, tons of open format DJs out there, tons of open format spots to play at. So it's not hard to make an okay living doing just open format. To play just house or like just a certain genre of house, I mean, to rise to the top of that, you have to put in a ton of work production wise on top of your DJing and networking. And but if you make it, you get to play huge festivals, make good money, tour all over the world constantly. Big payoff, but big risk related to that also. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could kind of compare that to sports maybe, and if you wanted to practice some sport where I don't know, it's not one of the top four, like if you wanted to be the best, I don't know, at horseshoes maybe, I don't even know if that's a sport, but I mean, it'd be a lot of extra work because locally, depending on where you're from, or I would think anywhere pretty much, it must be kind of hard to find other people who are interested in that. So maybe finding lessons and trying to get better with others would be more difficult, but I guess if you can do it, I think it would probably be pretty easy to get to the top, maybe if you were able to find a way to do it.
And when I was watching the Olympics this past summer, it brought this to mind when I was watching the water polo teams, and I'm like, where do you ever see water polo? How do these people make a living when you only see them once every 4 years in the Olympics? You never see them anywhere else. I mean, apparently you do, but I don't know where. I've never seen them, and you never hear about them, but they make a living playing water polo.
I don't know how much the living is. I mean, maybe they get some ads if they do good in the Olympics, but
Water Polo Weekly.
Yeah, I'm sure that pays a lot. Anyway, in other news, that is a good article, by the way, so you guys should all check out that article. We found a good video that's been making the rounds on Facebook today, and it's called Ask a Network Head, and there was a girl, I assume this was all fake, asked the MTV network head, why don't you guys play music videos anymore? And it's a very entertaining video. I like this dude a lot who does this video. I want to hire him for remix support if that's possible.
That would be great. No, I think he'd... I
hope he works for free.
He would replace the rocket ramp quite nicely. It's definitely a funny segment. Yeah, the girl's like asking seriously, like she feels really horrible about the fact that they're not playing music videos anymore, and then this network head goes on to how their target demographic is not us anymore. It's younger kids. We're getting old, so we need to stop complaining. And the fact that we stole all our music and made music videos irrelevant for promotional purposes, and the internet made music videos, or MTV at least, playing music videos irrelevant for promotion.
Well, the one thing that really struck me from this is just how bluntly they said it. I always knew that music videos were promotion tools, but I never realized that that's pretty much all they are, was to promote the song and the album. And now that people aren't buying, or they're downloading their music, hopefully some of them are doing it legally, but most people are doing it illegally. It really takes the need away.
Well, these days I think more people are buying stuff legally these days than ever on the internet, at least. So things are looking better in that. But I mean, the guy was saying how and you can get these music videos all over the internet all the time. It's not hard.
Do you really need to see it on another screen in your house? I like that part.
I mean, and he's absolutely right. So, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting, very truthful take.
And it was very entertaining as well.
Yes.
I really like that dude. Let's get him on to talk about the sync button. All right, now we're going to address some reader emails that we got. Well, and also some Facebook. We actually put on Facebook. We asked for your suggestions, and we got some topics to talk about. First, we'll address an email we got. It was about talking on the mic and how much we do it personally, how much we recommend people do it. And it's something we talked about a while ago, I believe, when we did a mailbag. This is like probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so definitely time to talk about it again.
It is. They asked, first of all, how much we talk on the mic at Shrine, and that is for about 5 to 10 seconds at the very end of the night.
Yeah, literally, like the owners don't want anybody talking on the mic at all at Shrine during the night.
I think it pretty much, if we could do a graph, it'd be the nicer the club is. Let me bring my hands over here. The nicer the club is, the less talking there is. And maybe the more of a local bar it is, the more talking.
Yep.
I think that's kind of how it goes.
I agree. I mean, talking on the mic, Shrine's like an upscale bottle service club, so definitely talking on the mic like all night doesn't usually fit the vibe that we're going for. If there's a certain act that comes in, say Clinton Sparks, who's known for talking on the mic and hyping up the crowd, then go for it, you know. But as far as like resident DJs go and normal nights, yeah, we're really just talking on the mic at the very end of the night. Maybe give a couple birthday shout outs at the very end of the night and say the whole closing spiel, and then you're done.
When Gronkowski came to Shrine, I actually let him get on the mic because I figured celebrities were okay, but I was wrong, actually. Frank was like, what the hell are you doing? So I don't think they want anybody on the mic except Clinton Sparks is the only one.
Pretty much. So obviously I think and we have quite a few house acts come through, and there are some that get on the mic a couple times throughout the night, but most of them don't really. Maybe they'll hype up once, maybe they'll get on the mic at the very end of the night, say thank you, that's about it. It's really the hip-hop venues and acts that really seem to get on the mic the most.
Rocket Scientists mentioned that when we talked to them. They said hip-hop clubs are totally different.
I mean, I think that's just a reflection of hip-hop culture. I mean, rappers, things like that, people hyping up the crowd is definitely more, it's always been done more in hip-hop in general, so I think that's...
Reggae, those guys just literally during the verse, like they'll let a guy say one line, then the next line they'll cut off and talk on the mic. They'll give him a line, then they'll talk on the mic next line.
It's a whole different thing, yeah. So, I mean, also a lot of hip-hop DJs... are on the radio, on the local hip-hop radio station, so they're used to talking on the radio as well. So I think that all kind of flows over into that club scene as well.
They want to know what we recommend in terms of getting the crowd involved. If you are going to talk on the mic, should you say something cheap, like, where are my alcoholics at?
And I've seen it work. I mean, honestly, it's really all about how you say it. It's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it.
You gotta sound confident if you're gonna talk on the mic.
Confidence is key. Seriously. You need to be overconfident.
And that's why I don't talk on the mic. I'm like, is anyone having fun tonight?
Yeah. I mean, if you sound meek on the mic at all, I mean, it's over. People just aren't going to respond to you. You have to command their attention and command their response to what you say.
Don't clear your throat before you ask if people are having fun.
No, you need to yell into the mic, and you need to make sure the phrasing that you're using is commanding, not asking. You don't ask them.
It can be like, picture like a bunch of feedback and like, hand in the air maybe?
Yeah.
No, you can't be like that.
Can I see your hands in the air right now, please?
Please?
No, that's not what you say. Say, put your fucking hands up, and they do it. So, I don't have anything against using cheap tricks like where
Cheap
my alcoholics at, and
you guys ready to rage? Who's drunk? Who's wasted?
Where my hoes at? You know, whatever you want to say.
Really, you do that?
Not really. No.
I'm sure they would love that at Shrine.
where my single lady's at. I mean, all that kind of stuff. I've seen all that stuff work wonderfully when the person on the mic has commanded it. And if they haven't, then you watch them fall flat on their face. So one thing I would recommend, and I worked on with our friend John Cardona on this a little bit, was when he was first starting to have to talk on the mic and everything, he sounded very bad, let's say. And so I had him record himself just into his phone. He had the iPhone, had him record himself talking into the phone, saying what he had to say, and then listening to it back. And the first time he did that and heard the recording of himself, he pretty much understood exactly what I had been telling him this whole entire time.
You know how people always joke about, they talk about a word and they'll say like, oh, that word, I bet your picture is right next to that word in the dictionary. With John, if the dictionary didn't have pictures and instead they had sound clips, they could put that sound clip of John talking next to the word meek. Because that was, I hate to blow up John's spot on here, but it was kind of funny how when he first started talking on the mic, the funniest thing he ever did, and again, John, I'm sorry for blowing up your spot. Actually, John never watches this, so he'll probably never know. There was a night at Shrine. I was actually DJing, and he got on the mic. This is when you were teaching him. So we let him get on the mic at the end. And he had a list of like birthday shout-outs to give. And it was the funniest thing ever because, first of all, I don't think we should ever read this many at Shrine, but he had like a list of like 6 or 7. So at the end, he was like, all right, he got some happy birthday shout-outs. He goes, happy birthday shout-out to Rebecca. And all Rebecca's people in the audience cheered. Then he's like, all right, happy birthday to Jen. And her fans all cheered. It was almost like, you know, they do those costume contests for Halloween. They'll say, all right, who thinks the Gremlin one? Everyone will cheer. They'll be like, all right, who thinks the guy from The Hangover one? Everyone cheer. That's what it was like. It was like just going down a line. It was like a voting more than like a shout out thing. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend recording yourself, listening to what you sound like, and then making adjustments to your voice and your technique. Then recording yourself and listening again and making more adjustments. And then recording yourself again and listening again. And then maybe you'll have it right. Maybe. But you should probably record yourself and listen again.
Do you know what I say at the end of the night at Shrine? Thanks for coming out to Shrine. Get home safe. That's it.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into my little ramble. But, I mean, I highly recommend going out and seeing what other people, how other people talk on the mic. Because I just listen to radio DJs too. It's a slightly different because you don't have to be quite as forceful on the radio as you do in the club. I mean, first of all, you have to get your voice to punch through the music. I mean, obviously bringing down the volume when you're talking can help. But it can be hard to really have your voice punch through and be commanding enough. So it's definitely see how other DJs are doing it and then work off that, I would say.
All right, let's bump one thing to the top here, the mixed and key thing that we mentioned, I think, a couple weeks in a row. We've had a lot more people asking about us since we mentioned. I don't think we really started off talking about the basics as much and why it's important to do necessarily. I don't know if we touched on that. But basically, I'll give my take on this thing, and then I'll hear your professional take, because I want you to know if I have this right or not.
Sure.
First of all, let's talk about what key is for a second. Again, this isn't technical at all. This is what people talk about on the streets in terms of how key. This is like street DJing. All right. Key to me is, well, first of all, there's a beat, and obviously some beats could have like higher kind of synths. Think of high-pitched noises, but think of them as synths, and some have more kind of lows. I mean, we all know high is like falsetto, like Justin Timberlake, and then low, think like Barry White. But I think what confused me for a while is even someone like Barry White can sing on a higher pitched beat. They would just change their voice to do so, right? Mm-hmm. So in other words, you have to, or the singer, the vocalist, is changing their voice and adapting it to whatever the beat is. So for instance, if someone's singing to a beat that's higher pitched or in a higher key, if you took that vocal and tried to do a blend and put it over a beat that was in a lower key, then it would just sound terrible. Right?
Yeah, they don't match at all. The notes completely clash, and it just sounds like a tornado in your ear. You
know what? The first time I had someone mention this to me was when I was a young DJ. This was when I was about 20, and I did a blend on a mixtape, and someone told me the key was off, or they told me the pitch was off, and I kept thinking that they meant, when I think of the pitch back then, I was thinking of the tempo on my turntables, the pitch control. I thought that's what they meant. Like, I didn't have the speed right, and I was thinking, wait, like, I think I know what I'm doing, because I knew how to blend, obviously. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it sounds good to me. I didn't really know what they meant back then, that they were actually talking about the key. And that was the first time I really tried to grasp that. And when you say it clashes, I think the best example I could give anyone, for all you guys who don't know what we're talking about still, I would say to go home, on one turntable put Wonderwall, and on the other one put Santeria by Sublime, and try to start with Wonderwall and try to blend the Santeria synths, or the beginning riffs, into Wonderwall, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Because that, to me, that's like the definition of clashing, and it just, I think
sounds horrible.
People in the audience normally might not pick up on this, but with that, I think anyone would just be like holding their ears, unless they were totally
tone deaf.
Yeah,
which is possible. Some people are absolutely tone deaf. But.
Now, as far as mixing in key when you do a club night, I don't think, I mean, I shouldn't say this, there's probably a few exceptions. I don't think most people do it the entire night. I mean, there's flat intros out there for a lot of songs, meaning that just drums to a song leading up to where the pitch and key comes in. And drums, for the most part, don't have a key or pitch, although there are exceptions.
Yeah, really only if there's like a bass tone, a bass note along with the drums, which sometimes is hard to hear depending on what system you're listening on. Sometimes that can clash, but usually drums are fine. There's
going to be a lot of parts during the night where you're not mixing in key. I mean, I would say probably maybe over half the night, because I mean, you're not staying in the same key the whole entire night. You're jumping around, so in order to do that, you're going to have to
I mean, you really only have to worry about mixing a key when you're actually blending two songs together, not necessarily if you're switching fairly quickly, like say over the course of 2 beats from the end of one song into the next song. You don't have to worry about that necessarily being in key, because you're switching so quick that there's not going to be any clash between the two. But if you're blending 2 songs together, say for 8 bars, 16 bars, 32 bars or longer, then those definitely need to be in key.
And I mean, like you said, there's definitely ways to kind of work around this, kind of fading, and even using the filter effect on the song you're going out of can kind of distort the bad sound if they're out of key a little bit. And so there's definitely ways around this, and I think with hip hop is where you kind of do a lot more fading and cutting and stuff, and that's where it doesn't tend to matter. I mean, I spent 10 years not worrying about my hip hop being in key. I still don't really worry about. Do you ever worry about your hip hop being in key as much, unless you're doing like a acapella out or something?
Yeah, not as much. Definitely not as much.
And with hip hop too, is if you notice something is out of key. I mean, sometimes you'll be doing a mix and you'll notice, and you'll kind of bring it back down and fade it up again, and you might do that with hip hop, and fading doesn't sound as bad. But especially house, I think we've mentioned before, is very important to mix in key. And the one thing that obviously we recommend everyone buys mixed in key for $60. There's no reason not to have it. The one thing that it did for me is there were probably certain songs that I subconsciously was afraid to ever really play as much, because I knew they had crazy synths in the background, and I knew there was pretty much a good chance I wouldn't go with anything mixing it at the part I wanted to mix it in. But now when if you know the keys and song that you're playing is 5A and the song that you want to play is 5A, you don't have to worry. You can bring it in pretty much at any part you want to without having to worry about stuff clashing, which is dope.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good regular explanation of mixing.
So the street explanation works for that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do long drawn out blends of tracks, you want to make sure things are in key. And I mean, ideally you want to test out 2 songs together ahead of time so you know that they actually are going to work together. I mean, using something like mixed in key doesn't guarantee that 2 songs that are even in the same key are necessarily going to work together all the time.
I would say to that, this part here was more for people who got kind of lost in what we were saying before, because I think we were speaking maybe a little bit more advanced before. I would say to hear like the more advanced stuff about mixed in key, check out the video we did from, it was either a week or 2 weeks ago, where we really broke it down. I think it says that in the I think it was titled actually something about key for that weekend recap.
Yeah.
So check that weekend recap from a couple weeks back where we kind of break down more about how to mix in key for more advanced stuff, I would say.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone asked if we had used the brand new Pioneer DDJ-SX, which is the first controller out for the new Serato DJ program, which replaces Itch. Have not had a chance to play with that yet, but like we talked about it briefly in the last episode or episode before, and it definitely looks intriguing, looks really sick, and haven't had a chance to download Serato DJ yet, but I'm gonna have to get that and kind of mess around with that. So hopefully when we get a chance to play with it, maybe we'll talk about it a little more. But
and our friend Vito wanted to add on to that. He asked what we could foresee in terms of maybe DJ products in the future. And it is kind of crazy. Would you have ever thought 15 years ago if I said, you know what would be a dope DJ product? All right, you would take your computer, you'd have like all the songs on your computer, and your records would just control those songs. It'd be like really sick. Would you ever foreseen
I would think that was impossible. I would have thought that was impossible.
I mean, I guess what would you want to happen? Remember we were talking about when Pioneer recently was advertising their new product that was going to change the game, and I couldn't really see anything else I really wanted. I mean, I guess sometimes you don't know you want something until it actually comes out. But I mean, what more do you need now? It seems like we have so much. What more do we need?
And as far as features, everything's kind of starting to get the same features as everything else. There are definitely some features in Tractor that I'd like to see in Serato, since I'm a Serato user. Like some of the sync stuff, honestly, I would like to see in Serato, just to kind of mess around with it. Like especially some of the new stuff in the CDJ 2000 Nexus, where you can set one track as the master, have other tracks sync to it, and be able to like change the tempo of the master track and have the other tracks follow along with it. So you could do live transitions to different tempos, things like that. I'd like to be able to mess around with that kind of stuff in Serato, but is that a deal breaker? Absolutely not. I mean, for me right now, it's less about the features of what you can do. It's more about making it easier for us to organize our music and our libraries, and more on the library side of things than the feature side. Because
what do you care if it's easy? You have other people do that stuff for you.
It would just be nice to have, if we could have more categories to label our music under instead of just the strict ID3 tags. Like if we had more tags, we could add things like that. I don't know, just better ways to organize our music.
The only thing I wish I had was maybe if I'm working on a mix CD, if I could just tell it to, I just speak into the program, into Ableton, you'd be like, make volumes the same, and it would just kind of like do that for you. Or if I was thinking of like, if I had a production idea in my head, like you know how Mixed in Key analyzes the songs and it can tell you what key they're in, which I have no idea how that could possibly be. What if I put like a little thing to my head and I let it hear the remix that I was thinking in my head, and just kind of Ableton just kind of like, you see the waveform like forming, it would just like do it for you.
That would be awesome.
That would be pretty sick.
And the other thing,
do you think how much free time you would have?
That'd be crazy. That would be crazy.
Probably 3 years away from it.
I just think everything needs to get better in general. And by better, I mean like for something like Mixed in Key, I think they just need to work on that to be even more accurate. I mean, right now it's like 80% accurate when it analyzes your songs, so it's pretty good for a program that is analyzing your music to figure out the key. I think that's pretty good. But if it was 95 or 98 or even 100% accurate all the time, that would be awesome. If Ableton was 100% awesome at warping your tracks for you, I'd appreciate that. If Serato, if you have the bridge in Serato and you have the basically warp markers that show up in Serato, why don't those show up when you drag a track over to Ableton and have everything totally synced and warped just like it is in Serato already?
I think now you're just being greedy. Well, what about if they did this on Ableton? If like you tried to add an acapella to do a blend and it was out of key, it would just wouldn't accept the acapella. It would just a think box would pop up and it would just say, yeah, no, we can't.
Error.
Can't do this.
Error.
Or even in maybe Serato, you'd be doing like a live DJ, be doing a blend, and all of a sudden like it would just stop and it would be like, yeah, sorry, I can't.
it would automatically do like a turntable power down effect on that deck.
Just turn the deck
to
off.
keep you from looking like a horrible DJ.
Sorry, dude. All right, next. Someone asked us if we had any experience sending 57 back to Rain.
For refurbishment.
Yeah, have you ever tried that?
I haven't personally. I know, I feel like we sent the one from Shrine in at one point. You know, I think we did send the Shrine mixer in to get repaired once. Not actually refurbished, but repaired. And they did it really quick. I want to say it was within a week we had it back.
What's the difference between repaired and refurbished?
I mean, repaired, there was definitely a problem that needed to be fixed. Refurbished is more like, I've had this for, 5, 6, 7 years now. And nothing's like specifically broken, but things might not be working 100%. And, you know, blow the dust out, things like that. You know?
I think my car needs to be refurbished. My car has my car has this disease right now. I'm sorry I just kind of want to vent about this. It has this disease where if you unlock it using the keychain thing, my windows go down, and there's two parts to this disease. The second part is that on my keychain controller thing, if you just like literally touch it, like barely touch the unlock thing, the doors just start unlocking like crazy. So in other words, just by putting it in my pocket and walking away from my car, the doors are just unlocking. So I have to hold the keys like outside my pocket until I get far enough away that I can put them back in.
So most cars, if you hit the unlock button twice, it will either roll the windows down automatically or it will like unlock all the doors. So
that must be what it is then. I wish, but it's just crazy that it's so sensitive.
It's your keychain. Yeah.
All right, good to know.
So there you go. Problem solved.
Good to know.
Crisis averted. People were asking when Rob Riggs is going to come back with some more tutorials, and I don't have an exact time frame on that, but we have talked to him, and he is definitely still down for doing that.
I do hope that you guys who are asking for him to come back are already wicked advanced with the scratching, because unless you are, you don't really need the next video just yet.
Yeah, you better have perfected everything he's taught so far. Definitely hit him up on Twitter at DJ Rob Riggs and Facebook and all that, and let him know that you're still interested in seeing that stuff. And definitely check out his brand new promo video he just released about 2 weeks ago. Definitely looks really good. Had some good graphic design done for it and everything too. So definitely cool video. You can check that out on his website, djrobriggs.com.
And one final thing, our friend Shane actually asked how our production was coming. I swear to God, I didn't tell him to ask this. We have stuff coming. Production? Hopefully, we have stuff coming pretty soon. There's a few things we're working on.
In the pipeline.
Hopefully, by the end of the year, I have high goals.
I just had a flash that it was like February right now, and we still had like 10 months.
Yeah. But we have stuff that's just about done. It's just a matter of perfecting it, I would say. So pretty soon, hopefully. So I guess that is this week's recap.
Yeah, pretty nice. Thank you all for giving us your thoughts and ideas of things for us to talk about. We definitely appreciate that, and probably every week now we'll be asking you guys for your input, because we definitely want to talk about stuff that you guys want to hear about, because that's why we do this. So.
And make sure you guys donate to that good cause that we put at the beginning of this video. Happy Veterans Day.
Dope wheelchair. It's awesome.
Definitely deserves it.
Looks like a Mars rover on steroids.
And finally, I went through this whole episode without swearing like I did last time. So shout out to DJ Holty, who
I did swear
told me
once.
not to swear. Did you?
Yeah, I said F it, it's Friday.
Oh, okay. That's right. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking us out.
As always, leave a comment right down there.
Or you can always email us at remixreport@gmail.com.
remixreport.com